Good evening, Screen Time Continuing crew. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday evening, this Sunday Fun Day. And tonight we are going to be discussing the 2021 soft reboot of the Suicide Squad. So, not the Suicide Squad, but the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, yeah, not
Yep.
Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad.
Right. Still
Um,
wrapping my head around that.
hey, it's a soft reboot, and they needed to kind of mix up the title, like Fast and Furious and the Fast and the Furious.
And then Too Fast, Too Furious.
That was my favorite name of that series, honestly. Too Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Best name ever.
Is that the one with the Ludacris did the theme song?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Introducing Ludacris and
Uh-huh.
freaking Tyrese's character. And before we forget, how you guys doing? Nick Keelan? How
Great,
you guys
man.
doing today?
Happy Sunday. Looking forward to this chat. Looking forward to getting into this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely looking forward. Definitely, excuse me, looking forward to going through this one. My Sunday kind of and my Saturday just kind of blended together. So I'm gonna call this a Saturday
Yes.
going
Yes.
into a Monday. I guess.
Funnily enough, a Saturn Day is what Saturday is actually named after. So, there you go.
See how that works out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. How about you, Nick? How you doing?
Yeah, I can't complain. Happy to be here. Sunday is nice. Yes, the weekend went by very fast. I'm kind of concerned about that, but gearing up for Monday and, getting ready for the work week and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, same here. Geez. Work. Actually, yeah, this went fast. I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to 8:30. I'm looking forward for this talk.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nice.
as you guys notice, anytime the narration switches between us, it is one of our picks for the movie that we are about to discuss. So, as you guys know it, and based off of what I just said, Sunday's entertainment is brought to you by The Mustard. So, my pick was the new Suicide Squad that just came out. And the big hype behind this movie is that this was directed by James Gunn, which people are kind of happy and I don't know about worried, but somewhat worried that if you don't know James Gunn is the guy behind making the Guardians of the Galaxy over there at Disney/Marvel something worthwhile or rememberable characters. A nobody comic book into, hey, I'm all up for this. He gave the glamour and sprinkle to Chris Pratt even more so. Besides his days on what do you call it, Parks and
Park and Rec.
Recreations.
Hmm.
So this ensemble had a hell of a lot of people, which was fun. I mean, we had Margaret Robbie as everybody. Well, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people come to see this movie. Harley Quinn, of course. We have Idris Alba,
Idris Elba. Yeah.
Idris Elba as Bloodsport, Peacemaker as John Cena.
Yeah.
We have Joel Kinnaman as what do you call
Polka Dot
it?
Man.
Polka Dot Man.
No, not Polka Dot Man, but what is this crap?
Oh,
Rick
as Rick.
Flag.
Yeah,
Rick
Rick
Flag.
Flag. Rick Flag. I'm tripping.
He's reprising his character from the last Suicide Squad, which I do not dare to really want to speak of.
It's interesting. Joe Kinnaman. I know his face, but his name never registers when I hear it.
For me, I know nothing much of this dude besides the Suicide Squad movie, the first one and this one. And beyond that, he's going to be signed on for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, so which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Right.
Little
Well,
crossover.
really quick. I'm looking here at the cast listing as well. So Nathan Fillion and Joel Kinnaman. Those are the two faces I get mixed up. That there you go, right there.
Oh, really? Wow.
I know it's
Every-
weird.
No, I mean it happens for sure. With certain people. I mean, I get it sometimes too. I used to get it with what's that dude named Cuba Gooding Jr. and I used to get that mixed up with Terrence Howard at times.
Right? It's like they look nothing alike, but somehow
It's just that,
what you
it's that
doing?
facial expression or that skin complexion. Something
Right.
about it.
It's something. It's that one connecting dot. All right, cool. It's not just me.
I do not know it. So Polka Dot Man, which this dude is familiar, and I did not notice some of the movies he did play in.
It's in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, this dude.
Mhm.
What is his name? David Malekchan. And who else we got? We got King Shark as freaking Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, that was a pretty surprising one.
We also even had Taika Waititi in this movie as well.
Mhm.
Sean Gunn as the Weasel.
Isn't the guy who plays Yondu, right? He's Savant. Isn't
He's
that
Savant.
the same guy?
I was
Yeah.
about to throw that in there.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that said "fuck this."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
So
showing great high levels of aptitude and taps out.
Right. Well, Dijon just popped out for a second. So I'll just take this moment to issue a spoiler warning for our viewers. We haven't gone into any spoilers just yet. We were just going over through the cast and crew, but going forward, we will be talking about spoilers. So if you haven't seen The Suicide Squad, it is on HBO Max. You can watch it there for free. You don't have to pay extra, which I thought was kind of nice. Go watch it and then come back to us. Or if you don't mind being spoiled or have seen it before, stick around and feel free to leave comments in the chat. We will be responding to them in real time. And we just really appreciate you guys listening in. And Dijon is back, so I'll bring him in. There you go.
Here it is. I'm worried about me stumbling over my words tonight, and I'm just disappearing off this.
That happens. It's all good. I just told them, gave them a spoiler warning while you were gone. So I think, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Spoiler warning. If you guys haven't seen this, shame on you. Because if you don't have HBO Max, I'm sorry. If you can't see it in theater, I understand. If you don't want to see it in theaters, I still understand. I'm not going to give you a politically correct way of why you should and shouldn't. But if you got HBO Max, I say why not? $15 for a $15 movie ticket. Why not?
I didn't have to pay for it. What did I do wrong?
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
If you had a generous friend to let you watch it.
Yeah.
So, I wish I got some of them bonuses, them hush hush money that AT&T and Warner Brothers was dishing out for not having directors and other actors bitch about their stuff being on streaming. So
I'll
at least they did it
any
smart.
sort of hush hush money, man.
So, if many of you guys do not know, the Suicide Squad is a DC comic book, of course. What do you call it? This adaptation. And if you don't know, Task Force X, which is the Suicide Squad, is basically the government scooping up these con members, these super villains, these villains, and making sure they do their dirty work. And if they don't comply, they die. And then if they do comply and the mission goes, honky dory, hey, you get some time off your sentence, or maybe you just get let out free, depending on the mission.
Or maybe you still die.
As you guys seen that shit. And that's about it. And what I love about this film particularly, especially what James Gunn is he took a lot of D/E rated. I'm like, dude, how can you go more into the pool of just being shittier as a villain or even a hero? And you can see that with a lot of these fucking characters that you if comic book heads would know, seen for a couple issues where they just became something that was going to be serious, and this became a joke character throughout the decades of comics has been around. And he did a good job just playing with this, taking well-known and unknowns together, or just and killing them off, which that surprised me. And one of the biggest deaths for me was a villain called Captain Boomerang. I wasn't expecting that. That's a Flash villain. I'm like a main, straightforward Flash villain. And he just, for me, it was great. I was like, oh, he just did that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie wasn't precious about keeping people alive, which I kind of appreciate. I mean, it's in the name of the movie Suicide Squad, so you got to expect some death going on. And also, shout out to the R rating. It's very refreshing to see
Right.
a R rating superhero film. I think, you know, if I'm just going to give my first impression real briefly, I think that this gives a run for the money to Marvel. I think Marvel should be real worried about this movie. Because if DC can continue a trend like this, man,
Right.
Marvel might be in big trouble.
They phase 4 doesn't exist if they keep doing this well, right?
Right. Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you this: it's a possibility. It depends on, because I find this interesting that you say that, and I was going to go into this a little bit later, but it's perfect timing. Um, I was reading an article from Collider with James Gunn about his creative liberties he had on this movie, and they scooped him up basically after being fired from from Disney because of a fucking 10-year-old tweet about what do you call it, child trafficking. And I thought it was interesting, and I knew he was probably picking at the idea of what they did through Suicide Squad, this movie, because there was a lot of fingers pointing about child killing and shit, anything dealing with children. It was just like a little bit of a like kind of a running theme that wasn't like, I don't know if people really noticed it, but in that article, James Gunn straight out said, you know, the difference, and he was so humble about it. So, because I know he didn't want to step on anybody's toes, especially when he still knows he has a job back at Disney for Guardians of the Galaxy and God knows whatever else he's going to do.
Mm.
Man doesn't want to get blacklisted. I don't blame him. And he was like, you know, the difference from working under someone like Kevin Feige and the difference from what I did here at Warner Brothers was that Kevin Feige knew his shit in the sense of, you know, he was just a fan and a comic book head as much as he was. And his biggest thing was just notes. He was always there to improvise notes, like any editor would for a journalist or someone's writing something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, and here it was just like the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, and I'm like, and I just remember not too long ago, and I think this is funny. This is like I just seen this video kind of stating this, and it's this thing where I started thinking about Zack Snyder. And I'm like, and Zack Snyder was crying that he didn't have that type of liberty back with the Justice League, and it was just so cutthroat. And I'm thinking to myself, if this dude came on saying that he had the liberty to do what he want, and other directors said the same things, but like the guy from Aquaman and even that chick from Wonder Woman, oh god, these all saying similar things. I'm like, dude, your movies just fucking suck.
Yeah, and there was probably more control on the the production studio side when it come to the Justice League, because I think they wanted to build something like the Avengers. With something like this, it's already sucked once. The studio is probably like, yeah, you can't do much worse, so try to revitalize it.
Yeah, and consider budget. There's a lot of things to consider if you're going to blame freedom of creativity or freedom of let's just call it elbow room, so to speak, right? Like, think about this. This is how I would look at most things. If someone else is getting it, what didn't I do?
Exactly. That's exactly, because it's like, evidently you did something right when you did 300. Evidently you did something somewhat right when you did Watchmen. You didn't do something right when you made your own creative own shit, which was Sucker Punch. You definitely didn't do it right for Man of Steel. Batman versus Superman, you didn't do it right.
Oh,
and
but
Justice League was half of the shit was just a shit show.
Right.
And everybody's trying to blame Josh Whedon for taking over.
Well, no, but that's the thing right there. That's exactly kind of what I was leading into. And like, just to kind of lead back to James Gunn, like, where he's making his own comparison as to why he's not being allowed to do something. Like, Go sit down with James Gunn and ask him. Go sit down with Joss Whedon and ask him. Go do your due diligence rather than complaining in the press, right?
Well, plus, I mean, look, like Dijon just said, James Gunn got fired by Disney for stupid tweets that he said back when being edgy on Twitter was the thing to do. And I'm sure people at Warner Brothers, as soon as the moment that the press release came out, they were calling him and they were saying, come over here. Because what you did with Guardians of the Galaxy is exactly what you can do with Suicide Squad. Both franchises are very obscure. Not a lot of people will know about them, but it's all about the characters that you put in that position. You know, we don't care. Nobody cared about Guardians of the Galaxy until we saw the movie and we saw the characters and we're like, holy shit, you know? So yeah, I could definitely see Warner Brothers being like, yeah, we need to get him real quick because he can replicate that for us with Suicide Squad.
And the thing for it is like, and it's like being at home for him because he was also behind the Scooby-Doo adaptations.
Didn't know that. See,
and
again, like you're you got to look at who you're putting yourself in the arena with, man. That's like not being funny because I do want to dive deeper into this, but just sidebar. Think about one of my favorite analogies when we're talking about levels of professionalism and levels of aptitude in any arena, right? There's a basketball player, Brian Scalabrine. He's a 6'10", 6'11" Irish white guy, redhead dude. You see this dude, you think to yourself like, yeah, probably not, right? I think he's probably like 6'8", 6'9". But either way, the point is, you call him, like people will say he's sorry, and he'll be like, yeah, if you're comparing me to Kobe and Jordan and Shaq, then yeah, I suck. But compared to you, I'm Jordan, Kobe. Like you suck compared to me, bro. Like I still did this for a living for 20 years. And it's that. What is the track record behind the people that you're looking to when you're comparing yourself? If we're putting Suicide Squad against Justice League, the proof is right there. The proof is in the work. We don't even worry about how you feel about yourself. Just look at the work and be honest with yourself.
And it's crazy because Warner Brothers kind of had a track record of scooping up these people. Because I mean, you think about it. Patty. Well, most people don't know Patty Jenkinson was behind half of the shit show that was Thor's Dark World. So they scooped her up. The second Thor, which no one loved, like
they should have passed. They should have passed.
And they scooped her up for Wonder Woman, and I was like, people love Wonder Woman. Mixed messages about Wonder Woman 1984. I've only seen the first one. I didn't too much care for it.
Oh, the second one was awful.
I'm not touching that shit. Then the first thing they did with when Josh Whedon and they did the same with Josh Whedon after Zack Snyder had to leave in the middle of production because of personal issues that year with Justice League of the passing of his daughter. And it was just like they hurried up and scooped up Josh Whedon after Disney was like, okay, Age of Ultron was whatever. Hello, Russo brothers.
Yeah. But I think that's the thing, though, is that they're scooping up the corporate people. You know what I mean? Like James Gunn is a kind of an edgier director. And the fact that he got to do, if he did a rated R Guardians of the Galaxy, that would have been awesome. You know what I mean? But like he got to do a rated R comic book movie. And whereas all those other people, the Russos, Jenkins, and whatever the hell that guy's name is, Joss Whedon, they're all corporate people. They all do squeaky clean stuff. Mm-hmm. That's like family friendly, like family friendly movies that everybody can watch. And it's like, no, we don't want to see that anymore. Like we want to see a movie, especially on a movie about a group of supervillains that are non-superheroes that are disposable. That basically, their whole objective is to not die, and most of the time they die.
It's good to hear John Cena say "fuck" like 7 times.
Yeah.
Oh, right. and it gets better. And I mean, it's funny because I literally just met the dude last year. I can't say too much. Well, yeah, I can because it's out. Because bits and pieces of this movie was actually filmed at my job. So that's where I met this dude, and dude is a very lovable dude. I love this dude. If it's not so that, he's China. Yes, they do, and that's where they'll probably make a lot of their money too.
Probably.
And it's interesting. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with the Peacemaker TV series on HBO Max. That's what we get next.
I kind of feel like Peacemaker is just like your knockoff Homelander.
In a
Or
sense.
yeah,
I
a
I
little
think they're
bit.
taking advantage of the anti-hero moment we're in life.
Right.
Even like this movie in itself, for me, and maybe it's just I've watched so much Monty Python, Mel Brooks, like just I don't know how, but when I was a kid, I just was dove into that shit. It was around, so I watched it. Even like the Ernest movies, right? But I say all of that because this movie had a lot of those like moments, and to me, those are the anti-hero moments. You weren't looking to necessarily just be funny or to just be lovable and kill the, oh, I'm gonna whisk them off and not kill anybody and save the girl like Superman. Like, nah, I'm gonna fuck up a little bit. You're gonna have to laugh at me, but I'm gonna still get the job done. So I got a lot of that, a lot of Mel Brooks. For the most part, it reminded me a lot of Men in Tights. That what would that be, like the early 90s, late 80s type of movies when they were really starting to figure out how to mend action and comedy into one.
You know what? I think this dude had it, and you know what? To be honest, me personally diving into the movie, I can't watch. I can't wait to watch it again. I'm probably gonna watch the shit out of it before it's gone in September. I'm gonna buy it too. And this is first time for me. For me personally, if I would rate this, and I'm rating this early, it's the perfect. For me, it's sincerely the perfect and first DC movie I can probably straight out give a perfect score to,
Mm.
because it caters to various aspects of the comic. It gives the feel for what it's worth, and it hits certain notes with a good beat, and it gives me them unexpected what the fuck moments, and it does great character development and character conflict all in one fucking movie, which is pretty fucking hard to do,
Right.
especially when you're so used to the fucking buffet line of shit that Disney has given us with the Marvel series.
Speaking of the character development that you just mentioned, I can't think other than Harley, of course. I wouldn't even say Riggs. Like I don't remember getting much on him in the first one. We haven't had any preconceived like prelogues to any of these characters until late now, right? Like all these characters are pretty much new for storylines.
Most of them is new. What got me was basically the death of Boomerang, because I did watch the other
That
Suicide
shocked me
Squad.
too. I thought he was gonna make it through.
Exactly.
I thought it was gonna be him and Harley, not Riggs and Harley.
Now Riggs, I was surprised that they got the same actor from the first one. And you know what? I like that dynamic where it's like, and it's funny, Harley says it at the end of the movie, like, Flag was my friend. And I'm like, it could have been more than friends if the way you guys are smiling at each other.
No, she was thirsty for it in this movie.
It's Harley.
And you know what? That's one of the best adaptations of Harley I've seen so fucking far in the 3 movies she's been in.
Big time.
And I'm just like,
well,
it hits it.
Yeah, I've heard it said before that James Gunn put that scene of Harley specifically to show how Birds of Prey should have been made. That fight scene with Harley in it.
And the flowers.
Yep. And I think he's right. I mean, honestly, to me, that was better than Birds of Prey.
And you know what? And yeah, he's completely right. And I give him thumbs up to it because that's why I was watching that shit in front of my son. And the first thing I'm like, you know what? This is not so bad.
Yeah.
That part really helped that part of the movie.
Yeah.
Me, especially when him watching. And I'm like, great. Yeah, he's telling the truth. I did enjoy Birds of Prey. I know a lot of people hate it. I enjoyed it for what it was worth compared to the shit show of shit we've got for the track record. It's not perfect, but it was good for what it was worth. And the bullshit feminism woman thing people were screaming about and the sexism crap, and I was like, that movie really didn't have much of that. It was just a fucking
The villain was
weird.
weak. Ewan McGregor was weak.
He was very flamboyant. in
Well,
that
it's not
movie.
just that. He just wasn't a threat at all. You
Are we
know?
talking about Birds of Prey?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, check it out.
No.
If you want to see some decent connection, because I know people already like, where does it fit in the timeline? Well, you fuck, well, no shit,
Ugh.
Sherlock. It's Birds of Prey in this.
You got to let go of the
Right.
timeline sometimes.
Yep. I don't
Well,
think
that's
I don't think there's going to be a timeline for DC.
Has Loki taught us nothing about timelines?
Well, especially with
Well-
the Flash movie coming out, where they're going to have their own multiverse going on.
Oh,
Well,
God.
that's
Jesus.
that's funny because I'm like, I think Warner Brothers over there was really itching to try to do this multiverse game with the Flash, but I
Mhm.
guess because of COVID and just trying to figure, well, I think there's so much shit was trying to get people to helm up for this movie.
Oh God, can we get rid of Ezra Miller? Jeez, he's
Dude.
not a good Flash, man.
He-
And he
he-
choked out a woman that nobody ever talks about. You know.
In
I
a
hear
club
you.
in Europe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
On people filmed it. Yeah. He
It-
assaulted a woman. That dude's not a good dude.
He's not a good person, and it's funny
Yeah.
you say that 'cause I didn't think much people knew about that. And
Mhm.
if you want to talk about this Gina shit with Disney and a bunch of other shit, come on, people. When people really do some very vile shit, them are the people we should be going after. But no,
Mhm.
they're probably not touching him too much because of I don't know what is he like. He's like bisexual or gay or something.
Probably. He toes the
Gender
he
Don't make
toes,
it okay.
he toes the line. He toes the line. Gina Carano did not toe the line, so she was up for
She
Yeah.
made stupid comments, and they're
Mhm.
grilling her for that. Come on,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Yeah,
This
Ezra
dude is
Miller's
choking.
choking women. Yeah, he's a
My
douchebag.
only statement on this is gonna be: I don't care what your preference is, what your pronoun is. None of that makes it okay for a man or anyone who was born as a man, or however, whatever you want to. Again, whatever you want to protest. I mean, out here choking out women. Don't be choking out people who you know. Are
Just
weak.
don't
How
touch
about that?
people. Just
Hey.
don't touch anybody.
His defense is it was the drugs.
Sure, whatever.
Let me
your
do that
defense
shit.
is You're a terrible person.
Let me do that shit here in the state of California to a woman.
I got some side bets.
Just
like the
don't
office
touch
in a
anybody
movie.
ever. How
They
about
should
that?
never.
Never touch anybody at all in your life. I think
mean,
that's good.
I
To
think
6 feet away, people.
Yes,
I
that's
was
right.
just about to say, I think if you're 6 feet away following the protocols, you should be totally safe from all of these
Totally
things.
sound. Absolutely.
One thing I didn't really ask this. We got so much involved in talking about some stuff. What you guys think of the movie? Fuck. Fuck.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Go ahead, Keelan. Why don't you go first?
You know, so I liked it. I definitely thought it was a decent flick. I liked a lot of different things about it. I liked the freshness of most of the characters. Actor execution was pretty decent. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know about perfection, but I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would probably have to echo that sentiment just a scotch. I think it was fantastic. I think that this is the best DC movie that's come out so far. I really love this movie because it's fun. It's not taking itself seriously, and it's not trying to push a message. And really, like, that to me has to be applauded whenever a movie just tries to be entertaining, because nowadays everything has to be a message about something, and it just gets so tiring and it's so transparent that I just end up rolling my eyes till they roll in the back of my head. So, I really appreciate the fact that this is just a fun movie, that it doesn't have to have any sort of like underlying symbolism that's a social commentary about anything. It's just about villains killing people and fighting a giant starfish. And that's fucking awesome. I mean, I cannot complain about that. And I got to say, James Gunn did an incredible job. It's too bad David Ayers, I think that he didn't get to do the things that he wanted to do with Suicide Squad. I think there was a lot of Warner Brothers sort of meddling in that production as well. And, it would have been interesting to see what he had in mind. But James Gunn hit it out of the park.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. I don't think it was so much Warner Brother. I wouldn't be surprised. Just the whole shit show he had to deal with when dealing with
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto and Will Smith. I mean, you got
Mhm.
just two big people because they asked James Gunn, "Yo, you want this dude to come back?" He's
Nope.
Like, no. He's like, "Nope." Well, what about
Nope.
Smith? He's like, "Nope." Two
Nope.
drama queens.
Yeah.
Two mega stars that I don't want.
And I gotta say, Idris Elba way better than Will Smith. Just
Oh,
gonna
no.
say it. And this for this type of movie, Will Smith did not fit in the Suicide Squad. He just doesn't. Idris Elba was convincing as a gruff, mean, kind of intimidating guy. Will Smith
agree.
doesn't intimidate me.
I
I mean,
can
I
say
just look at him and be like, "Hey, that's Will Smith." You know, like,
I can say I like for the rough around the edges edge. I do like Idris more, but I feel like they're both like a little too, I guess, fresh, too clean, too much, too familiar. I guess maybe that's
Maybe.
what it is. Maybe it's just
Maybe.
too much familiarity.
yeah, Idris
Well,
is
I
a
think
big
they
name
both did
too.
pretty decent. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I like both of them as far as in the movies, but yeah, I probably would take the Idris version
Mhm.
for sure.
Oh yeah, because he didn't. I love this character because he played that. I really haven't. I'm trying to think everything I've ever seen him in. I've seen him in the Thor movies.
The Office.
I haven't seen him in. Beyond God honest truth, I have not watched The Office.
Oh
completely
yeah,
through.
I always bring that up, and you're like, I don't know. He was also
Yeah.
in The Wire, I believe, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was his big start, right? The
Mhm.
Wire for
Yeah.
acting.
I don't know if that was his. Maybe over here, yeah.
Yeah, over here, yeah, for sure.
Because I remember.
Look,
well, it's the
he
same.
kind of old.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. And for God's sake, just made him James Bond already. Everybody wants it. Like, what are you
They
guys
should.
doing?
I don't want Tom Hiddleston as fucking James
Neither
Bond.
do I. After
Keep
seeing
that
Loki,
shit.
you gonna try to convince me that Tom Hiddleston can hurt anybody? Come on now.
I'm sorry to the people that bitch about gender bending and race bending. Hey, James Bond always don't have to be a white British
No,
dude.
that's just a code name, man.
I'm not saying
It could be a black British dude.
Exactly, and we got that with the Daniel Craig movie.
We're not trying to make Ving Rhames 007 for God's sake.
Right,
Oh,
right.
hell no.
Yeah, Idris Elba is a Londoner, so he fits in perfectly.
Exactly, he got that smooth operator too.
Yep,
Then he got the hazel eyes, like
yep.
some bitches.
And he's got a great Cockney accent.
He
too.
said, "Huh."
Yeah.
Over here, like, wait, he what? Wait, what page we reading that on? Hold on, wait, I don't see that. Definitely.
I mean, after
definitely
seeing this dude in
Bob.
Hobbs and Shaw as the villain, calling himself the Black Superman,
Is that how you saw his eyes were hazel?
I think his eyes are hazel, like a hazel brown.
Oh, or maybe you got that from him playing Heimdall in Thor.
Oh,
yeah, 'cause
actually,
he has
yeah.
yellow eyes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Mhm.
I understand now.
Yeah, can we also just say that it takes a lot of balls to make Starro the main villain of this
I want
movie?
to get to that so
Yeah.
bad.
Dude, I'm sorry. A lot of people bitched about this. I'm like,
That's so
That
dumb.
was
That
the
was
best
great.
thing ever.
shit. I'm like, look. I'm sorry.
They could
Going
have
back
stretched
to-
that into a 3-part series.
Right.
Easily. Starro, oh my god! I was like, they know what they're doing. They
Yeah.
went through the
Yeah.
source material. They know what they're. Oh, he's dead already.
And they did because with what do you call it? Idris Elba's character. I love the fact that Bloodsport was literally introduced. I forgot which number. Fucking Super. He was a Superman villain.
Mhm.
He literally shot
I thought he
fucking
was a Supergirl
Superman.
villain. He did.
No,
but I thought he was Supergirl's. Like one of her main villains.
Probably later on, but he first appeared in the Superman comic, shooting him with a kryptonite bullet, and they
Right.
took that
Mhm.
straight out the comic. And I was like, "That's dope." Now,
Right.
Starro, I think that was funny because everybody was like, "Well, the JSA, the Justice League of America,
Mhm.
fought him. Suicide Squad can't do it." I'm like, it's a fucking suicide mission. No shit.
Yeah, exactly. And it's silly. Come on, what are you gonna waste like a super serious character on the Suicide Squad? I don't think, and I think that's why it fits. It's a silly character because this is a silly group of people, and this is a silly movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and they didn't give a full background on Starro for exactly that reason.
right?
I like
You didn't
because
need to.
because when most people give the full background, they write themselves into a corner, as we say a lot on this show. And an example of that is Invincible season 1. They have this whole Starro situation going on there. What they do, they just let it float into the wind. We know, but most of the time the Justice League comes into effect with Starro. Most of the time something happens. Oh, they freeze the main one, or they somehow immobilize it, and then it disappears for the next 3 seasons. Like, you never know. In this one, you're introduced to it very vaguely. You understand it's a hive mind, and you get given nothing else.
Mhm.
You were given nothing else. I thought that was the best way to handle it.
Until the last line, where then you're like, oh man, poor guy.
Poor guy. Yeah, poor guy.
He just wanted to be floating in space, staring at the stars.
I was much happier looking at the stars.
Yeah, and it was the Americans that brought him to Earth, man. We should have just
Man.
left him in space.
Gosh darn it.
And it was great versus the first movie. What they really, like you guys said, wrote themselves into a corner. I'm like, they made
Because
Enchantress the villain.
They tried to
I'm
be
like,
too serious. They tried to
dude,
be
I'm
too
sorry.
serious. Yeah.
that shit's happening in a main city. Superman and them better bring their ass on. What the fuck are they
Right.
doing?
Right.
What
This
is
was Black Ops. It was like in like a third world country. Like, oh shit,
Yeah.
no one's coming there.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So, so from the beginning, guys, how did you guys feel about the beach assault, the assault beachfront?
Fantastic.
Um,
Seeing Pete Davidson's head blow apart was amazing.
Oh, thank you. I was about to say Blackguard and the whole. We're right here, guys. I'm the one that caught. Whew.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. So those lips get smaller.
I love the fake out of that too. It's like, because like they did a little bit of marketing with him as being a part of the movie, and then he's just
Yeah.
dead within
Dude,
minutes.
that was great.
I was
That's
really trying to
hilarious.
understand, like, how is Pete Davidson going to be in this entire movie? Like, I don't get it, but
Right.
all right, if that's the character he's gonna.
Nope.
Nope.
I love that bait and switch where you get introduced to the first Suicide Squad,
Mhm.
and then they all die, and then on the other part of the island is the Suicide Squad that you actually
Right. Well,
that we're
you
going
get
to follow.
introduced to the actual Suicide Squad. I think that was an ode to the first movie, though.
Yes,
because,
definitely. Yeah.
Like, oh, the only thing you did right was Riggs and Harley. So I guess
Yep.
I'll keep them.
We'll keep the good ones, and then we're killing everybody else
Right.
off.
You ruined the concept of Boomerang, so I can't even
Yeah.
use him.
Yeah, let alone the Native American guy that used rope as his weapon.
As his weapon.
Like, what? It's
I'm just
okay.
saying. And so as we're introduced to the second squad, though, I don't care what nobody says. I wanted to see a little bit more out of Polka Dot Man, because that was a
Same.
crazy shit.
Same.
You know, that dude was dope. He was a throwaway character from Batman.
Really?
And
He seems
I-
OP as shit, though.
Right.
they changed it up, and
Mm.
you know, these are one of those things where I didn't bitch about with a lot of the Marvel shit when they took like shitty characters and actually gave them some fucking worth. And I was pissed. I'm like, my dude comes from Ant-Man and the Wasp doing security shit to fucking Batman, and this dude is coming in here like, I'm a super, and damn, I'm like, oh, dude, really? That's fucked up. I enjoyed
Yeah.
this dude.
Yeah, it seems to me like he could have killed Starro on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had he been able to take the cap off.
Yep. And it seems like he's the only one that could kill Killer Shark too.
Yeah, because those serpents
Bullets
can't
don't
do anything.
apparently bullets don't do anything to Killer Shark, which I
Yeah.
did not know.
But bullets don't do the worst to regular sharks, so that actually made a little bit of sense.
Yeah, I guess he's got like fortified skin or something like
Yeah.
that. That makes sense.
Look,
By the
now-
way,
now-
Killer Shark really he is the Groot of the whole
right, for
movie.
sure.
And he definitely steals a lot of the comedic scenes, which I loved. I thought
I
they
loved
were
it, and
really
people
good.
and people bitched about him changing that character.
And I was like, fake mustache. He's just got his fin over his face.
He's like, well, fuck.
New dumb friends.
Man,
Sylvester
he might
Stallone.
be.
Yeah,
He might actually be my favorite character, legitimately.
same,
Like,
definitely.
actually, like, not for the action purposes. Oh well, maybe.
I mean, he's pretty dope in the fights too. Yeah,
Yeah, like, because now
he's kind of hulky. He's a little hulky in the fights.
more hokey than hokey, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel about Flag's death.
I was a little disappointed about that, man. I actually didn't want to see him die. If I'm being
Not
honest,
that way, at least.
not that way. Not to Peacemaker. I hate Peacemaker.
But that's how you knew they were bringing Peacemaker back.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
true.
hoping he was actually fucking dead. And I'm like, well,
Me too.
since I already know they're doing a TV show, I'm like, well, I
Maybe
guess it's
it'll
going
be
to be before.
Right.
But nah, he survived. I'm like,
But I
bullet.
don't think so. Here's the thing about that, and this is why why I figured he may have still been alive. I didn't know how they were going to work it out. I don't know why I'm stuttering so much this evening. I didn't know how they were going to work it out, but I kind of figured because Bloodsport shot him in the neck, but Bloodsport is what has been way more efficient with all of his killings except for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Way more efficient. So yeah,
I would think it could be probably looked at it, but with him being actual friends with Flag in this movie, I think he meant for it. He had it out for him. He didn't like this dude from the beginning.
Oh no, of course not.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a tough son of a bitch.
The prick.
Which is like fuck.
Well,
Yeah.
remember how they were introduced? They have the exact same intro.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they're kind of the same person.
Mhm.
And it's I haven't really seen John Cena and shit, especially since he's just starting up his acting career.
I think they're great.
I think he did great. Yeah, he's great as an asshole.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Wish he would turn heel in wrestling. I mean, that'd be.
He started as a heel, so he can't be a heel at this point in his career.
He's too lovable. He's too lovable
Mhm.
as an optimistic wrestler.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Remember
He
when
does
was
too
just a
many
guy-
Make-A-Wish stuff, man.
Right.
Can't
Remember
be
when he
a
was just
villain.
the guy with the chain around his neck and the backyard shorts.
Dude, before that, he was like some kind of weird American dude. He wore like this his hair was like all frosty blonde and shit.
Oh, when he first came in, when he was Kurt Angle's Playboy.
Yeah, I think so. And after that, he squared off with Kurt Angle. They changed him up.
It was only
It's
like
a-
2 months. Look, this back when I actually still paid attention to what was going on in the dramatic world of stage wrestling.
Well, it's interesting how they market these guys. It's like I didn't know not Samuel Jackson, Stone Cold Steve Austin had blonde hair, a head full of hair, and today he told him to shave it off,
Mm-hmm.
and et cetera, et cetera. Now you get
Hey.
recycled shit.
If
Today.
you want to be one of the biggest names in wrestling history, cut that hair off, son.
Hey, shout out to Viola Davis too for coming
Man,
back
big
and
shout
making Amanda Waller even more hateable. I
Yeah.
I appreciated that. She really did a good job selling that like despisable government character
Mm-hmm. And taking a golf club to the head.
and taking a golf
Yeah.
club to that.
She
Yeah,
should have been dead.
she should have been.
God damn.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Watching her in this movie made me want another season of How to Get Away with Murder.
Mm.
Need that in their
Yeah.
life. Just
Oh,
need her
she's good.
screaming and panicking about some more shit and telling people how incompetent they are, even though she taught them what they're doing.
Well, she definitely did a lot of screaming in this movie.
Did that show get canceled?
I don't think it got canceled. I think they just ran the whole what more could they have done? They gave us so much.
Because they filmed that quite a bit at my job. I'm like, next time I'll let you know so you can get a autograph or a picture. I'll let you say, yo, come over, because she is a nice person. She's
Oh,
really
nice.
I'd like to also mention Harley Quinn. This is the most tolerable Harley Quinn has ever been, and it
Can't
and
argue with that.
it's because her annoyingness is actually desired in this group dynamic, and her little segue, away from the group was actually really good. I liked all of that. I love the scene where she's just like fighting all the guys out of the embassy or wherever she is. Dude, that was fantastic. Like she rips a part of her dress and then uses it to strangle a dude, and it was really, really cool. I think that this is probably the best Harley Quinn performance or appearance so far. Yeah.
Definitely the most consistent with the character we actually know and love.
Right. Definitely.
And I agree. And I think this is what I was telling my wife when I was watching this. I'm like, you know what? James Gunn did a great job at just dividing these characters up for you to have their time on screen and give them the development they need. I'm like, dude, I go back watching the last Suicide Squad. It's like, if it's not about Will Smith, it's about Jared Leto. If it's not about Jared Leto, it's someone about Margot Robbie. I'm like, I don't care about these people.
Yeah.
don't care.
That whole
Yeah.
They
movie
even
was
did
an
the bar
integument.
scene better this time around.
Yes, they did. Yeah, and I think you're right. There's something about this movie that allows you to get to know every character instead of just having like the stars and then the ancillary character. Like everybody in the Suicide Squad, you got to spend some time with and got to know. Like Ratcatcher too. I mean, having that whole storyline with her, about her father and all of that stuff. And,
Right.
Tyke.
Very Spider-Man
Taika.
Squirrel Girl.
yeah. Of course, and shout outs to Maurice for being the real one.
Maurice.
Maurice the Rat.
Oh, I thought his name
Oh,
was
Sebastian.
Sebastian,
Sorry,
yeah.
Sebastian. Yes.
Yeah, we could, Maurice. That's a good name for a rat. Ooh.
Yeah, why not? Maybe that's the Ratatouille rat. Maybe that's where I got
that. You know what? I remember Maurice from one of those. Might have been Aristocrats or something.
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That famous rat not named Stewart.
But I definitely think they did a really good job. And this is, again, I think this is a James Gunn thing of bringing, like you said, Dijon, like, E-level characters to the big screen and actually making you like them. And, like this is a boon for DC because now you have this movie. I want to go find the comics where, where Bloodsport kills Superman or nearly kills Superman, or where Polka Dot makes an appearance, or, where Killer Shark is, like the main, bad guy, or the 80s run of Suicide Squad.
Oh, so just to iterate what you were saying, Keelan, it was Killer Shark that made his appearance with Supergirl.
It was Killer Shark that popped up.
I mean, not Killer Shark, King Shark.
King Shark.
King Shark.
I don't know if you guys want to read those, but that's like shit back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't stand that art anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
So
For
can't
me,
do it.
I can't. It gives me a headache. I can't read early Amazing Spider-Man or X-Men, Uncanny X-Men. It makes my head hurts. It does.
Okay.
You gotta allow.
But,
put on some of your glasses from when you were a kid, if you had glasses on back then, and just see if the nostalgia helps. Nostalgia of the glasses, nostalgia of the art.
I'd rather just read a Wikipedia page at that point.
Wiki.
Yeah. So, what else you guys got? Anything else you wanted to bring up?
I mean, I like the way Bloodsport was broken down. I didn't too much care for the way Waller went about how she conned him into getting things done.
That's the beauty.
But
neither did Waller's coworkers.
Neither did the staff, and I thought that was dope because as much as she was mad at them, you could see it's like they ride or die for and with you. So they made the call they needed to, the same way they do when you need them to. And then you had the Bloodsport being afraid of rats is hilarious. But
he was going to give us the Fast and the Furious 2 synopsis, like with the bucket.
Oh right! Wow, yeah, that was a crazy scene.
Was that Fast and the Furious too?
Yes, that was Fast and Furious too. Oh yeah, that was I remember that scene. But so when they go to save Flag to find out that Flag's hasn't been captured. I don't know if I was supposed to be laughing so hard when I found out how messed up, like that they killed all the refugee fighters.
Yeah, a lot of them.
It's so hard. I was
the whole camp was just getting taken out.
Yeah, between that and the Squad 1 getting killed, I don't know if I was really supposed to see as much of this as comedy as I did, but they were getting wiped out left and right.
Yeah, and it was fantastic gore too. Fantastic blood. I mean, like this is the type of comic book-esque, like gore that you want from a rated R comic book movie. So I think they did that incredibly well. And, like if you're going to get an R rating, just drop as many F-bombs as you can. I love Idris Elba and his daughter just screaming fuck you at each other.
At the beginning of the movie. Like, I promise I was sitting here like this. Now, that's how you set the tone.
That's right.
That's how you set a fucking tone.
Yeah. This dude don't give a shit.
And it was also that last bit when she was like, that's my dad. That's my dad. I was like, oh, that's kind of heartfelt. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And my daddy.
Yeah. She was finally proud of something that he did. So.
Right. So, so we Starro again. So the Americans bring back Starro. Here's my question. Who else do you think? Do you think Star was became like a UN project, Project Starfish, or just the U.S.
I
and
think it was just the U.S. Then they partnered with that government.
the
you know.
island?
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think they'd want the Russians to have any control over that. So
Right, and I think the one something they did really well with Starro was making it whole hive mind, like basically
Mhm.
you kill the original host versus the way it usually works with the starfish aliens. Whereas, all right, cool, you might have killed the leader, but did you kill all the subsidiary ones that were left? Because if you left
Mhm.
one, it's gonna turn into that.
Right.
And then, you know,
Yeah,
it's-
then you're doing it all over again.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm like, no, we don't need a sequel based off that shit. Please don't.
No.
right. That was my only fear, honestly. My biggest fear was that they were of this movie was that was gonna go that way.
Yeah, and I think that they did that on purpose just to keep it like an enclosed, capsulized movie that you don't need to think too much about. Like, I didn't have to think about the logistics of anything. Like, it does a good job at setting the expectation of like, hey, this is a comic book movie. Don't think too hardly about this because this is about fun. This is about, blood and,
Right.
super villains,
Right. Stop questioning how strong Harley is. She's that strong.
Right. And she was convincibly strong, at least until she hung a dude with her legs after doing a pull-up.
Right. That was only semi. If she hadn't lifted him so high off the ground, I might have believed it.
Right. Yeah, if it was just on his like tiptoes and he couldn't get a grounding, then I would have been like, yeah, that makes more sense. But she literally like beast mode pulled the chain up and just like went 3 feet up in the air.
It was kind of attractive though. I mean,
she handled, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the Harley fight scene was probably one of the best fight scenes. I love just the way that she fought. Made a lot of sense because what I don't appreciate sometimes, and we talk about this like overpowering of characters and stuff. Sometimes you don't get the real type of fighting. And that to me was a real, like based in the real world style of fighting from somebody who's not exactly super strong and not a super, villain, like doesn't have superpowers really. So she was utilizing everything in her surroundings. She was banging that dude's, head against the door, multiple times, using the gate, using her dress. Like, I like that type of stuff because that shows you how proficient she is in fighting. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with that. That was probably her fight scene, as far as all the hand-to-hand combat, that might have absolutely been the best.
I think it was, to be honest. Aside from like, the shooting and the stabbing and all the craziness.
Well, but that's why I said as far as hand to hand though.
Hand to hand for sure.
I think she might have definitely nailed that.
I agree.
As far as Bloodsport and Peacemaker, whoever had the smaller bullets, I guess.
Right.
That was dope. That was like that Western villain, just how they had that moment where he just landed like, oh, we're gonna do this shit. All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was nice. Wish you could have landed before he stabbed Rick Flag in the heart, man.
with plaster.
With a tile, a piece of tile.
Or a tile.
Yeah.
It was more realistic. Tile I can see happening.
Yeah. That was dope. That was kind of foreshadowed because he was like, I don't give a fuck women, children, whatever. I'll kill them for this country. I'm like,
for patriotism.
Like,
patriotism. Yeah.
He was like, okay.
Yeah, I definitely got American Agent vibes from him. Yeah.
Murder in the name of.
Right.
Like this girl, she reminds me of my daughter, giving me that father, that kind of vibe of how I should be as a father. I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
Right? You pointing the gun at? It's my baby girl. That's what he said.
Convict daughter. My smarter convict daughter.
Who knew that the rats would save the world,
I did.
I did.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense. It's the only thing that could fight all those starfish anyway.
And I think it's cool to know that somewhere other than New York has rats that big.
Yes. And that many. My God. That was a lot of rats.
I think rats that we know of. I think we just don't know of them here in Southern California.
Oh no, I see them from time to time.
What is that? Honestly, I thought Polka Dot was gonna take him out. I was assuming like he was gonna have one of his moments and reactions and just like sacrifice and jump in and just fucking explode from the inside, kamikaze style.
That would have been cool. Because he honestly, it seems like because it's an interdimensional virus, it looks like it rips apart matter when he's shooting the polka dots out. So that's why I'm like, dude, I wonder if he had shot those at Superman. Would Superman be able to take those? I don't know.
That's a good question.
I mean, it would seem that like, maybe not. Maybe Superman couldn't handle the polka dots.
Polka dots are the most vital thing. And it definitely seems like he may have been the most powerful.
Yeah. If he didn't have to piss polka dots twice a day.
Look, my thing is this, like they would destroy him, but they're not necessarily eating through his body.
No, yeah, he can withstand them somehow. Yeah.
That's interestingly enough.
Yeah.
His story was also very obscure.
Oh yeah, the mom.
Yeah, that was different.
But it was kind of cool though, because then you get the reference to the Flash and Star Labs, and his mother was a scientist for Star Labs and tried to make him a superhero.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it makes sense because if you have the super rich millionaires that are doing it, they got to hire these people. Some of them are going to go way beyond it, overboard too.
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Good shit, guys. Well, do you guys have anything else you wanted to bring up before we get into our ratings? Dun, 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 dun.
No, we already covered the Easter egg.
Which Weasel or
Weasel and
hold on. You meaning you actually sat after credits? Oh, I did. It's not a Marvel movie. But you know what?
I'm just gonna do it anyways, just in case.
Look and see.
That's what I did. Yep.
That's awesome.
I learned my lesson. I will, for now on, fast forward through the credits just to see.
Yeah, that's the beauty about us being able to stream it. I was like, that's the first thing I thought about watching Black Widow. Like, I can fast forward through this crap. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Fast forward through the whole movie if you want.
Yeah.
Actually, with that movie, you could have. I felt like I spent the money just to watch the after scene credit.
Yeah, for sure. All right, who wants to do review ratings first?
Man.
I think we know what Dijon thinks. So let's. Keelan, do you want me to go, or do you want to go first?
I'll go. I get this one up out the way.
All right,
do it.
For the record, I do my rating system on paper, K and D, because apparently we are the kids next door. Just a little nostalgia, but I liked this movie. I enjoyed this movie. I don't know if it's just because it doesn't compare to our last 4 movies or what, but I can only give this a 6. I would maybe give it a 7, and that's just because I'd be comparing it to the last one. But I think I can only give this a 6, honestly. It was good though. It was good, enjoyable, no complaints. But if we're talking about the scale of that discussion we had about art and all of that good junk, purpose, it nailed all of those. You know what? I'll give it a 7 because they nailed the execution. I'll give them that for sure. So I'll give it a 7 because they nailed execution. But overall, as a film, as a movie, it's only a 6. It wouldn't hit any of my radars and tell somebody they had to have it in their collection.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to put it against some of the stuff that we've already reviewed and rated highly. I did try to keep that in mind when I thought of my rating as well. And I'm going to give it an 8. I'm giving it an 8 because to me, this was the first movie I've seen in a long time, a modern movie that I've seen in a long time that I didn't feel like, oh, this is boring.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because for some reason, nowadays, I'll sit through a movie and then an hour through, I'm like, God, how much longer is this? How long do I have to So seriously, I do that so often now with new movies. I know I did it with Black Widow for sure. And so for this to be a movie that could have been just like that and then wasn't, and still had a very good sort of enclosed storyline with interesting characters, with great action, with great, comedic beats. I'm going to be, I think it deserves an 8. And, that'll probably be the highest rated DC film that I ever rate. And perhaps even, a Marvel film. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I could put this against Marvel in any respect. I think they're just a little bit different, but this to me was a fun movie that you can watch and probably even rewatch because there's just so much enjoyable beats to it. So yeah, I'm gonna say 8.
There we go.
I think you guys already know me. I'm giving it a perfect score of 10 out of 10 because of so many aspects. From I jumped into this bad boy kind of downgrading it because I'm like, all right, I'm hoping like hell. Because the first thing that came to mind, I'm like, maybe it'd be kind of cutthroat. Because I was like, I seen Scott Snyder's name on there as exclusive producer, and I'm like, oh fuck. It was great. It was great in the sense they gave this dude complete creativity. I love the comic book nods, little tidbits and nods. It did it for me, loving comics the way I do. It gave me a lot of what the fuck moments. It was very artsy. I mean, it wasn't very, but it was artsy to a point where it wasn't overly done. Yeah, the stylisticness, it was not overly done, and it just had a nice beat to it with everything that was done. It made me care about characters within that span of 2 hours or so, and it was just like, cool, put a smile on my face. And I was just like, wow, dude. First perfect DC movie, in my opinion. Jesus Christ. And I can't complain about it. The ensemble was great. Music was even better. I was like, nice. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I don't know about another Suicide Squad movie because after this, that's going to be hard to top because it's going to be somewhat. If he does another one, everything's going to be kind of. I can expect certain things, just like with Guardians too. The first Guardians of the Galaxy was the best. The first Scooby-Doo is the best. All the second ones, they were good, but not as good as the first, and some things fell flat. So if he does anything outside of Suicide Squad, I'm hyped. I would love to see how it's going to play out.
Definitely.
And surprisingly, I knew Taika Waititi was in this movie, but that little spot where he was in it for that flashback, it was great. It was beautiful for like a junkie.
I think he just did that as a favor to James Gunn, to be honest.
And they're buddies too. And he was like, and when Disney was trying to get him to take over for Guardians, he was just like,
nah,
no,
it's not gonna happen, dude.
All right. Yeah.
So
no,
that's my take on it. I love it.
So
awesome.
You got a 10?
Yes, sir.
Oh my god.
It's just blowing me because it's a DC movie getting the 10. And you know what? I only feel that way would possibly one of the closest 10 for a Marvel movie for me has been
Civil War.
Yeah.
That's probably the closest.
Civil War and Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
That's true. That's fair.
Because I cried a bit at the beginning. With the whole thing with his mother dying of cancer. That made me cry.
That was sad. And the soundtrack is fucking awesome for Guardians. My God, that's a soundtrack I actually bought because it was so good. But that brings the Suicide Squad. 30. Yeah, 8.3 out of 10, which is now contested for the number 5 spot in our rundown. If you guys want to know our rankings for the movies that we have reviewed so far, we're going to post a rankings board soon enough at the end of every show so that you guys can see. But I'll give you guys our top 5 at the moment. At number 1 right now is Big Fish with a 10 out of 10. Number 2 is Eternal Sunshine with a 9.3 out of 10. Number 3 is Drive with a 9 out of 10. Number 4 is There Will Be Blood with an 8.5 out of 10. And now this is where Guns Akimbo and Suicide Squad are battling for the number 5 spot of 8.3 out of 10. So we will have to see where we might have to revisit that score in the future and give a point or two or a decimal point to one of them so that they can edge out the other. But that right now it is sitting at our 5th most liked movie that we've done so far out of about 21 movies that we've done. So not too terrible. And do Do you guys have anything else you wanted to add before we
We
wap
should
up?
discuss the first one next.
The
The first one, what?
first Suicide Squad.
Oh, yes.
Nope. No, I'm down too. But
Mhm.
I do want to say, as far as Guns Akimbo and Suicide Squad, this Suicide Squad being rated the exact same and tied, I definitely would put them in the same category, hand in hand. So yeah, I like that.
I would say that
like
they're
that.
pretty close for sure. Yeah. It both in the same sort of like, the goodness of the movies for sure.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up our review, our spoiler review of the Suicide Squad. Thanks to Dijon for picking this one. That was a lot of fun. And we hope that you enjoyed this episode as well. We hope that you enjoyed Suicide Squad the way that we did. We definitely liked it a lot. We recommend that you go check it out if you haven't already. If you haven't, I don't know what you're doing watching this, but sorry that we spoiled it for you, but we did warn you. So don't get mad at us. Thank you so much, you guys, for listening. We very much appreciate any time that you take the time to listen to our podcast. We are just very grateful to you all, and it makes our day to see you guys comment and give your input. So thank you so much. If you want to check out what we do on our separate podcasts, Dijon had to drop out again, but he'll be back. Keelan's got a podcast, If Numbers Could Talk. It's on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Please go sure. He's got his shirt on too. He's representing. Please be sure to check him out. If Numbers Could Talk, 6 p.m. He's got a Facebook page and a YouTube page. He's also on our Thinkering Talks page on Facebook. You can catch all of his podcasts there. Please make sure you go check him out Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. The Dijon, the Mustard's got his own Twitch channel going on right now called Strawberries and Coffee. He's on at Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. And he's streaming different types of games. I think he just started Borderlands. I think that's the one he's on right now.
I believe it's Borderlands.
Yeah. He just finished the Shadows of the Damned, and he's doing Borderlands now. And he posts on YouTube the next day at Strawberries and Coffee. So make sure that you go check him out. Give him a like and a subscription. Make sure you watch his Twitch channel. It's a lot of fun to watch other people play video games. I had no idea, but it is.
It is.
It is fun. I got a podcast too that we're doing on Mondays and Fridays. Friday's a little bit iffy for us right now, but definitely Mondays, called Exofathom. It's on at 8 p.m. We're going to be having an episode on the goddess Kali tomorrow. So that'll be, Kali Ma. You remember Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. But yeah, we're going to be talking all about the goddess Kali within the Hindu religion. And so that'll be an interesting episode tomorrow at 8 p.m. Exofathom. I have a Facebook page and a YouTube page. I'm also on the Thinkering Talks page too. All of our stuff is there, so you can check us out on Facebook, and we're all there. But if you're a purist at heart and just want to hear us blabber on about movies and TV shows and critique things for which we have no credentials to critique, we very much appreciate you taking the time with us on Screen Time Continuum. For Screen Time Continuum, I'm Nick.
And I am Keelan.
And the Mustard is not here, so we will have to say he is the Mustard. And he'll be back at some points with us on Wednesday. So thank you so much, you guys. Have a wonderful night.